Bathhouse is a Swedish short film called Simhall in Swedish. This was released in 2014. It's directed by Niki Lindroth von Bahr, and this is set in a swimming pool with some rather interesting looking anthropomorphic animals and a rather suspenseful narrative, but very slow, but realistically so. I won't give any spoilers, as I do recommend this. If you are a fan of stop motion animation, you'll adore that aspect of it. I think it is so beautifully done. And even though it was slow, and I'll talk about that more in a moment, everything about it was so beautiful to look at that I just couldn't take my eyes away from it. It is gorgeous. The attention to detail is fabulous. It is absolutely stunning to look at. The narrative itself is okay. It is set in a swimming pool, and we have various characters coming in to use the pool, and we get to see a lot of the pool and the surrounding rooms and things. Really great attention to detail. And then some characters come in who are up to no good, and things get potentially dangerous. And that part of it was suspenseful. I do think it kind of just fizzled out. The narrative fell a bit flat. It feels like it could be an introduction to a series, or at least a collection of short films, maybe not a full series. But I was left wanting more, partly because the animation is incredible, but also because I was also just not completely satisfied where it went. But I won't explain any more than that. And I did enjoy it. I do recommend it. I just think the narrative maybe wasn't as compelling as it could be. But the visuals really, really make up for that. Now, I did mention the pacing being quite slow, and it absolutely is. But there's so much to look at that I don't mind that. But the reason I said it's realistically slow is that if this were to happen in real life, anthropomorphic animals aside, this is the pacing that I would expect it to develop at. It felt very realistic. Were it not for the fact that I was watching a horse cleaning up the rooms in the pool, then I would have potentially believed that I was watching real footage, because that might be a bit of a stretch, but it felt so realistic. The characters' behaviours were not over the top. It wasn't over-dramatized. It felt so believable and so realistic. And I actually really appreciate that. Had this been a feature-length film, first of all, looking at that animation, that stop motion for that length of time, I'd have been very happy. But in terms of the pacing, I think they would need to tighten it up a bit, because it would need to have more action. It would need to be quicker. But within the context of this kind of 15-minute short, I actually for the most part, I kind of enjoyed the slow pacing because it felt really believable. There were times when I was thinking maybe we can skip ahead a couple of seconds and get there a bit quicker, and we could have removed a little bit here and there, and I would have found it to be a little bit better. But for the most part, I actually think the more gentle pace worked very well. And I think it definitely helped to add suspense as well, because it's clear that something was going to happen, but it took us a bit of time to get there. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Is it perfect? No. It's maybe not the most satisfying in some ways, but in general, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's only 15 minutes, and I absolutely did not mind spending the time watching it. If it sounds like it would appeal to you, if you like films that are ridiculously gorgeous, Bathhouse or Simhall is definitely worth watching, and I would absolutely be on the lookout for other films from the director. I believe the director has done several things, including one of the segments in the film The House, which is a really interesting film. That's a feature film. If you haven't seen it, I thoroughly recommend it. And I think I will check out some of the director's other work, because visually this is absolutely stunning. And it is something that I think is worth watching.